Good morning. It is my pleasure to introduce our special guests. Please hold your applause until everyone has been introduced. Rowan University President, Dr. Ali Hushmand. From the Rowan University Board of Trustees, Ms. Isabelita Abel, Dr. Barbara Chamberlain, Dr. Thomas Gallia, Mr. George Loesch, Ms. Virginia Rowan Smith, Mr. Arbery Singleton, Student Trustee, Ms. Barbara Kushner, our keynote speaker, Mr. Bo Nyland, the Medal of Excellence recipient, Ms. Denise Williams, CWA President, Mr. Daniel Cardona, SGA President, Dr. Stephen Chin, Grand Marshal, Dr. Zenaida Gephardt, the College Gonfalonier, members of the Cabinet, college advisory boards, faculty, and other senior members of the administration. Last but not least, there are two very important constituencies that must be recognized as well. Students, please rise and face the people who are most important in your life. Parents, partners, brothers, sisters, and loved ones who have provided support and resources to help bring us to this day. Applaud them as you're standing here ready to graduate. And finally, please recognize your Rowan family, the faculty, staff, and administrators who share in your pride and success today. Please be seated.
Good morning. Good morning to you, members of the Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering class of 2017, and to your family and your friends. What a day this is, what a year you've had, and what a college experience you've had here at Rowan. My name is Virginia Rowan Smith. I'm a member of the Rowan University Board of Trustees, and I have the honor of congratulating you on Commencement Day and of welcoming your family and friends on behalf of the college, the board, the faculty, the administration, and the staff of Rowan University. As many of you know, your college holds a very special place in my heart. My parents, Henry and Betty Rowan, funded the start of this College of Engineering before many of you were born, when they gave their large gift to the then Glassboro State College in 1992. My father's delight and love of engineering and his passion about engineering education and its importance in the world, in the US, and here in southern New Jersey, along with the fact that Glassboro State at the time did not have an engineering school. All of that allowed him to dream of a college that would revolutionize engineering education. As I've said before, many of you have heard me, he was fond of saying, this country doesn't need more engineers. We need more great engineers. You, I'm sure, had big dreams as well when you came here to Rowan, and you still do, and you will going forward. It's the fabric of having a good life, being able to live out our dreams. On top of all those semesters, labs, clinics, early mornings, late nights, all-nighters, you've been given wonderful opportunities. Opportunities to conduct research with professors here, research that will bring about changes in people's lives, changes in the world, opportunities to intern at prestigious firms, opportunities to travel, present papers, lead conferences around the world, lead Rowan groups, lead other organizations. You've earned awards and you've brought accolades to Rowan, and you spent your last semester in our new, marvelous, extraordinary engineering hall. What a beautiful building that is. People will tell you that today represents a milestone in your lives, and of course it does. You go from being a student to being a professional. You go from being a youth to being an adult. In many cases, you go from being quasi-independent to being totally responsible for putting a roof over your head, food on the table for yourself and probably others as time goes forward. Those are all big responsibilities, but you are prepared. You are ready to undertake new engineering challenges, lead new teams, even start your own businesses. You're ready to develop solutions, improve technologies. You are ready to change our world. During your time here at Rowan, your professors, mentors, and others have prepared you, and your own intelligence and drive have served you well. Remember, to be accepted into this fine college, you had to be gifted. To graduate from this college, you had to be exceptional, and you are. During the time most of you have spent here, we've seen Rowan Engineering grow and increase in stature. We've added a PhD program, a biomedical engineering degree. We've grown in size, we've expanded research, and we've earned more funding for that research, which helps all of the college. Your degree is so valuable now, and it will become even more so in the future. Graduates of the class of 2017, when Mr. Rowan spoke of having great engineers, he had you in mind. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, the administration, faculty, and staff, I extend to you sincere congratulations on your special day, and I wish you the very best as you move into the future. Congratulations to you.
Good morning, everyone. Let's get some energy from my fellow engineers. Good morning. That's much better. Welcome, parents and loved ones. I am Ali Hushman, president of Rowan University, and I'm proud to be here celebrating the great achievement of these young minds with you. I promise I'm not talking to you about, I'm taking you back into the science classes or differential equations or any of that nonsense. That said, I think one of the words that define today is momentum. Class of 2017 of the Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering, you are on the move, and I echo the congratulations on reaching this major milestone. You have demonstrated momentum from the start of your academic career here. You have been the picture of energy individually and collectively, a true body in motion. And as a fellow engineer, I know what it takes to pursue an engineering degree and complete it. I know the number of days and nights that you had to be in labs and in classrooms and doing homework, and I know some of the materials are pretty rough. But you overcame all of them, and you have really demonstrated excellence in what I consider to be one of the finest engineering colleges in the country. I really do believe it. In short, all that you have done, you really have excelled. In doing so, you have enhanced our university. Consider this. Our Board of Trustees oversees policy. Our professors teach or create knowledge and teach them to you. Our staff supports you. But graduates, you are who people think of when they think of Rowan University. When you go out there and demonstrate, and I've heard that story countless times from presidents of major engineering firms in our communities, that how wonderful your graduates are, how ready they are, that as soon as they start work, they don't need to be trained further to be productive. So you really are a face of this university, and you are bringing tremendous amount of pride to us. Thank you. You are the true face of our institution, and for that we are very proud. You are the biggest accomplishment of every board member, administrator, professor, and staff member here today. And I tell you honestly, as a father and as an educator, the greatest joy the most joyous day in my career these days, when I come in here and see everybody is smiling, especially the parents. Because as a parent, when you bring a child into this world, from the moment they enter, the only thing you think about is what can I do to make sure that these kids grow up to be successful and productive citizens, to be safe, to be happy, to have a decent life, so that they can continue making America a great country that it is. That's the wish of every parent. And for those reasons, it's extremely joyous for us to come in here and watch you guys succeed with a smile and leave this university and start being productive taxpayers for the good of our country. Why are you laughing? You've got to pay your taxes. Everybody else does. Well, almost everybody else. So now, I mentioned momentum earlier. As you have demonstrated it, so too has Rowan University during your time here and beyond. Consider the recent past. Our enrollment over the past 7 years has grown by about 8,000 students. Actually, this September, we will have over 18,000 students, and only 7 years ago, we had 10,000. We reached, and I remember distinctly when I spoke with President Farish, and I said, Dr. Farish, this year we're going to surpass 10,000 students. That was 2010, I believe. In terms of research, 6-7 years ago, we had about $5 million of research in here, and it's now been sevenfold, $35 million this year. In terms of philanthropy and advancement, those days, we will raise about roughly $2 million a year. This year, our target is $38 million. The SAT of incoming class, 7-8 years ago, for all intents and purposes, for many of our majors, people more or less could get into this university. Not anymore, I can assure you that. Especially in this college. This is an Ivy League admission standard, I can assure you that. Where the average SAT of 1,340 or so, it's not easy to get in here, and it's not easy to get out of here, because these fellows are not going to let you, unless you really are good. In terms of scholarship, 7 years ago, we had about $6 million scholarship. This year, we spent $27 million. In terms of buildings, you have seen the buildings. We have invested, or our partners, actually, the one thing that I love about our growth and investment is that we use other people's money to grow this institution. So over the past 7 years, roughly $700 million of other people's money have been invested in this university, and to build all this wonderful structure for the good of all. And as a result of that, we went from roughly 1,600 employees to 4,000 employees. Who would have thought in Glassboro, with a population of 19,000 people, there would be an organization with 4,000 employees? And all of that speaks to momentum. And if you go back to the history of this institution, there are two very important points in the history of this institution. In 1920s, the great citizen of this town or this village or this borough got together, and they put their monies together, I think about roughly $5,000, and I bought a number of acres of land, and they approached the state of New Jersey asking for a normal school to be built on this campus in this very same place. And it did, and this is it. This is how Rowan started, with this one building behind us, with 250 students. Those people were visionaries. And they could see the benefit of creating a university that eventually would become a monumental economic engine and lift the entire community. So this university started as an average normal school, educating K through 12 teachers. And eventually, it added more departments and more colleges until in 1992, Henry and Betty Rowan gave the largest gift to a public institution in the history of America, $100 million. This was 1992, remember. In those days, if you listen to the news, they will tell you how many American millionaires there are. And this fellow gave $100 million. Now, think about that. In fact, when our people approached this gentleman and his wife, initially asking for only $1,500, he questioned and he refused. So what was the justification for $1,500 gift? And within a short period of time, that $1,500 gift turned into $100 million. So it makes you wonder, what causes an individual who started his own industry, his own garage with his wife, and became one of the largest and the most impressive industry or leader of industry in the globe? What trumps an individual to part with $100 million, to give to an institution that he has absolutely no affiliation with? What causes that happen? Isn't it? Don't you wonder about that, isn't it? Why? Why not giving it to MIT where he graduated from? Why Glassboro State? Especially from a man who just said $1,500, why should I? But what it tells you is that there are sometimes these Renaissance men or Renaissance people who have the vision, who see the future much better than the rest of us. I wish I was in his head. I wish I could think or see what he was thinking, what he was imagining. But I bet you he was imagining today. He was imagining that his $100 million is going to have the impact that is going to last for generations if it's invested in this place where it can grow to what it is today. Whereas if that money was given to MIT, it would have probably supported a research lab by a couple of professors. Think about it. 4,000 people are now collecting the salaries and feeding their families there. Think about it, that 18,000 students come in here and get affordable and quality education and go and be productive taxpayers and great citizens. And visionary people like Henry Rowan, like the leaders of this borough some 90-some years ago, are the people who have made this country the amazing place that it is. Because in a free society, in a country where you're free to think for yourself, to dream for yourself, and to implement your dream, if you are armed with knowledge and wisdom, you can reach anything you want, anywhere you want, go anywhere you want. Think about it. We are a country of immigrants, and I'm one of them. I came to this great country in 1983, and I started, actually it was 1975 that I went to England, and my first job was I fried Kentucky Fried Chicken for 50 cents an hour. Trust me, I actually used optimization technique to do it so efficiently, and it worked. And then I came to this country in 1983. I think I had $800 in my pocket. I went to the University of Michigan, got my second master's and a doctorate, and ended up being the president of a major research university. But when you go back further to where I came from and who I was born in a family with 10 children where my mom and dad couldn't read or write, and many nights I went to bed hungry. And I remember I used to play on dirt with bare feet, and sometimes blood would drip from my toes. Now, this country has the ability to take an individual like me and turn that individual into a college president of a major research university. So you can imagine what you have in front of you, the opportunities that you have in front of you. You can imagine that you are born into the greatest country on earth where they allow you to think for yourself, to decide for yourself, and to create for yourself, and to become whoever you want. I hope you know how privileged you are. I hope also you recognize what an enormous responsibility it is. Because great countries do not remain great countries. Look at all the empires in the past that went away, and all of it happened as a result of hubris and arrogance. It's incumbent upon the young generation to carry the torch, to vote, to get engaged, to work hard, to pay their taxes, so that they continue remaining great. Otherwise, it's not going to. And you, amongst the best of this country, have the greatest responsibility. And I know you will discharge that responsibility to the best of your abilities. And I wish each and every one of you a wonderful success. I wish you all become millionaires. And I hope you let us know where you live so that we can write back to you and ask you for more and do what Henry Rowan did. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to the parents. Welcome.
So good morning. So I'm Tony Lohman. I'm the Dean of the Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering, and I have the distinct pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Mrs. Barbara Kushner. So Barbara is going to be the first up of our awardees who fits in the theme today of great engineers, and that's why we invited her today to address you. Ms. Kushner has a very interesting career path. It's a wonderful story that I hope she's going to share with us today. And I hope that you listen carefully to her message and leave here today and plot out a career path that allows you to pursue your dreams. So Mrs. Kushner dreamt of being her own boss, of one day starting her own company and being a successful global entrepreneur. And she's done all that and a whole lot more. Mrs. Kushner is the president and CEO of Armand Corporation, an engineering and construction management firm headquartered in New York City. Ms. Kushner started working for a defense contractor in the 90s for a number of years, and then she moved on as a consultant and eventually started her own business, Armand Corporation, and her first client was her former employer. 30 years later, we fast forward, her company has multiple offices throughout the United States and a wide portfolio of clients throughout the world. And you'll see in her full bio in the commencement program, Ms. Kushner has been dedicated to service and giving back and has been a longtime friend of Rowan University. She sat on our board of trustees for a number of years and has been a longtime supporter of the Rowan University Foundation. It's my pleasure to welcome Ms. Barbara Kushner.
Thank you, Tony. Dr. Hushman, Rowan Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, family, and friends. Each of you have helped to usher in this notable day for the engineering class of 2017. I am so honored to be a part of this celebration. The future is so bright for all engineers. The median overall entry-level salary for an engineer is approximately $66,000. If you got a job making more than that, pat yourself on the back. That's quite a good start for any career, but as you know, money isn't what it's all about. How do you, starting today, make each day meaningful? What can you do to have an impact on society? You're only one person. How can you make the world better? When I was your age, I didn't ask myself those questions, but I can describe how I felt. There was something inside of me, some awareness, a restlessness, an optimism that I didn't even understand. But there was also a feeling of impatience, a vague sense of dissatisfaction with myself. I didn't know it at the time, but those feelings have served me well my entire life. They have never gone away. I'm a product of two wonderful parents, and I'm the 10th child in a family of 12 siblings. My siblings Brenda, Clinton, Mary, and Teresa are here today. We lived in a modest home in a small town in Louisiana. My father was a natural-born farmer, raising crops of peanuts, potatoes, strawberries, and corn. And if he were alive today, we'd tell him that he was an organic farmer. Hearing that word, organic, he'd probably shake his head in disgust and say, the world has lost its last mind. Besides farming, he was a janitor and barber. My dad was known for working from 5:30 a.m. to dark. My memory of him is as a man in constant motion. My mother was a maid until she decided to continue her education at around 50 years old. and became a teacher's assistant. I learned my work ethic from my father and mother, but my mother was the driving force behind our education, how to speak, how to dress, and how to conduct ourselves in life. My parents' focus was always us. Their advice, get an education and leave the small town in Jim Crow South behind. I still feel their impact on me every single day, and I give them all of the credit for every single accomplishment I've ever had in my life. So did my early life foster this impatience, this restlessness, and inherent sense of optimism? I'm not sure. But what I am sure about is that those traits definitely work to my advantage as an entrepreneur. When I started Armon Corporation over 26 years ago, I knew that I would not fail. Many people never start a business because of plain old fear. But maybe I didn't fail because I never feared failure. But I can recall experiencing real fear twice in my life. Once was when I took flying lessons. I was about 6 weeks into my lessons when my instructor said it was time for me to do stalls. This is an exercise where you increase your climb at a very steep angle until there's no more lift under the wings, at which time the engine stalls and the nose of the plane drops and you plummet toward Earth. I had to get control of the plane again by leveling out and restarting the engine. I was focused on getting control of the plane, and when I did, I was exhilarated, probably because I didn't kill myself and the instructor. When we landed, my instructor asked if I was laughing during the exercise because I was loving it, or was it because I was hysterical? Since I didn't remember laughing at all, I had to admit that it was probably because I was hysterical. I walked away from flying lessons that day. You think that I'd be done with small planes? Oh no, I wasn't. My daughter, Nika, is in the audience, and she hasn't ever heard this story, so she's hearing it for the first time along with you. At the same airport where I took those flying lessons, there was a skydiving club. They heard I quit the flying lessons and called me to find out if I wanted to join their club. Of course, I said yes, why not? I was still crazed. A week later, I find myself in a plane, all harnessed up and ready to do the first jump. The instructor must have sensed my fear because he and the other jumpers started this, "You can do it, go for it, Barb." You know what I mean. I looked down into the abyss and thought about my daughter. Instead of falling forward, I fell backward, and so did my instructor. My responsibility to my daughter, yes, my responsibility, changed my mind. I was a single parent doing something really dangerous. I could hear my parents' voices in unison. "Have you lost your last mind?" I walked away from skydiving knowing exactly what fear is. That same year at 28, I was working in a nuclear power plant. I had worked not only in one of the nation's largest nuclear power plant construction sites, but I had also begun to transition to the operational side as well. Still, I was dissatisfied with my career, which gradually led me to entrepreneurship. My business started with one employee, myself, working out of my home. I'm an optimistic person, but I'm also firmly grounded in realism. That meant I knew that I'd have some difficult times and have some setbacks. Impatience is characterized as a negative quality, but when you're in business, impatience with the status quo fuels innovation, and breakthroughs. Today, we have 3 offices providing construction management and program management services to both public and private clients for all types of vertical and horizontal construction. Like every startup business, I kept my short-term goals simple. Basically, make enough money to eat, pay the bills. There were many times that I didn't even achieve that minimum goal, but as the company grew and I hired employees, something else happened. I invested in people. As the company matured and prospered and other offices were opened, I invested in the community. I don't know if I would have derived any personal satisfaction and meaning from building a business without investing in people and investing in the community, because those early years were really, really tough. There are many ways to impact others, and I just described my own way through being a business owner. No matter if it's through your own business, through your employer, through an organization or parenting, each route has one thing in common: responsibility. Being responsible and honest to yourself and others. Armin Corporation's success is mainly because of a very high rate of repeat clients. The 2 main reasons for that are I insist on being honest with the client, and I'm responsible, and I insist on my staff being responsible. It's simple. Being responsible wins repeat clients. I've always been a competitive person, but I don't spend too much time evaluating my competition. Instead, I'm always assessing what my clients' needs are. Clients are like people. They have their own personalities, strengths, weaknesses, good days and bad days. That doesn't matter to me because I'm going to perform the same no matter what. Years ago, my husband Neil gave me a wonderful plaque entitled Anyway, which hangs in my office and guides me as I hope it will guide you. It reads partially, "People are unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Love them anyway. If you do good, people will accuse you of ulterior motives, selfish ulterior motives. Do good anyway. Honesty and frankness makes you vulnerable. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. People really need help, but may attack if you help them. Help them anyway." Graduates, today is an exciting new beginning for you in so many ways. From here, you'll take the first job, start a career, get married, have a family. I've had 61 wonderful years on this earth, so I feel comfortable predicting a few things about your life. You'll have more ups than downs. Your career, coupled with your own personal interests, will probably take you in directions that you never dreamed of. You'll find that just being you, with some minor tweaks to those quirks that we each have, is okay. You'll have lifelong friends that you've met at Rowan University. One day you'll entertain your own college-bound teenagers with stories about professors and classmates at Rowan University. Some of you will send your children to Rowan University. You will never forget Rowan University. Finally, and most importantly, with some effort, you will impact many, many others in a positive and responsible way over your lifetime. Start that today. Good luck, engineering class of 2017.
The awarding of honorary degrees is a long-standing tradition at Rowan University. We select individuals whose accomplishments are meritorious and provide inspiration to our graduates and to the entire university community. Today, we honor such a person in Barbara Kushner. Not only has Ms. Kushner risen to the top of her field in the construction management business, a field traditionally dominated by men, she has become a true role model and employer who puts a premium on diversity. President of the New York National Chapter of Professional Women in Construction, she has received numerous business and personal accolades. Having achieved so much, she advocates to create opportunities for others. Dr. Newell and Trustee Smith, please join me at the lectern. It is my privilege and pleasure to recommend to you that the honorary Doctor of Engineering degree be presented to Barbara Kushner for her leadership in business and philanthropy and for her outstanding support of education, Rowan University, and the Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering.
Mr. President, I am pleased to receive this recommendation. By the authority granted me as a member of the Rowan University Board of Trustees, we honor ourselves today as we bestow upon Barbara Kushner the honorary degree of a Doctorate of Engineering, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining thereto.
Since 2015, Rowan University has awarded Medals of Excellence that honor worthy individuals in one of three categories: Distinguished Service, Research, and Alumni Achievement. Today, I have the honor of presenting the Medal for Alumni Achievement to Mr. Bo Nyland. Bo Nyland is a wonderful example of determination and accomplishment. A serial entrepreneur, he is most recently CEO and co-founder of Harpoon Medical, a Baltimore, Maryland-based company whose work is transforming cardiac surgery. The work of his company is enabling surgeons to repair mitral valves on a beating heart through minimally invasive techniques. Harpoon Medical is his fourth medical device startup company during a 25-year career. A remarkable achievement for anybody, but I think even more so for a Glassboro State graduate from 1980 with a degree in law and justice. He did not leave home and come to college to pursue a career in business, but somehow his path has taken him that way to become a biomedical entrepreneur. While in college, he was a three-time all-conference football player, leading Glassboro State College to many football championships while he pursued his degree. After graduation, finding a perfect job in his desired field proved to be a little bit elusive. So he decided to start his own business. In recognition for his extraordinary accomplishments, more of which you may read about in his bio in the commencement program, I'm proud to present Bo Nyland with the Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering Medal of Excellence in Alumni Achievement.
This week, we are graduating 40 students who have served our country as members of the military or National Guard. Many of them served overseas. We recognize the challenges and hardships of going overseas and then transitioning back home to Rowan to complete their education. Will those students who have served in the military or National Guard please stand to be recognized? Thank you for your service to our country. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to recognize the graduates who have excelled in their academic studies while here at Rowan. These students are graduating today with honors and fall into 3 levels of achievement. Students graduating cum laude have achieved grade point averages of 3.45 to 3.64. Will those students who are graduating cum laude please stand to be recognized? Thank you. You may be seated. Students graduating magna cum laude have achieved grade point averages of 3.65 to 3.84. Will those students who are graduating magna cum laude please stand to be recognized? Thank you. You may be seated. And finally, students graduating summa cum laude, the highest honor, have achieved grade point averages of 3.85 to 4.0. Will those students who have achieved this distinction please stand to be recognized? Thank you. You may be seated. Congratulations to all on your achievements. At this time, I would also like to recognize the Honors Concentration graduates and Honor Society members. They are listed in the program and have been recognized at previous ceremonies. Will all of these graduates please stand? Thank you and congratulations on your achievements. You may be seated.
Okay, now is the moment for you. I will now recognize the candidates for the master's degree. Will the candidates for the master's degree please rise? Dr. Newell, will you please certify the master's degree candidates?
Mr. President, the candidates who have successfully met all of the requirements for the Master of Engineering Management and Master of Science degrees are hereby certified by the faculty for the receipt of their degrees.
Trustee Smith, these candidates have been certified as having completed all the requirements for graduation. I present them to you as proper recipients of the Master of Engineering Management and Master of Science degrees.
Master's degree candidates of the class of 2017 who have been certified as having completed all of the requirements for graduation by the authority vested in me as a member of the Rowan University Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the Master of Engineering Management and the Master of Science degrees with all the rights, privileges, responsibilities, and obligations appertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Congratulations. You may be seated. I will now recognize the candidates for the bachelor's degrees. Will the candidates for the bachelor's degree please rise? Dr. Newell, will you please certify the bachelor's degree candidates?
Mr. President, the candidates who have successfully completed all of the requirements for the Bachelor of Science degree are hereby certified by the faculty for the receipt of their degrees.
Trustee Smith, These candidates have been certified as having completed all the requirements for graduation. I present them to you as proper recipients of Bachelor of Science degrees.
Members of the class of 2017, with the authority vested in me as a member of the Rowan University Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the Bachelor of Science degree with all the rights, privileges, responsibilities, and obligations appertaining thereto. Congratulations to you.
Congratulations. There are going to be a few more sitting down and standing up. We make sure that you do a good exercise before we give you your degrees. You may be seated. Thank you.
Okay. So now you're graduates. So I promised the event planners today that I was going to stick to my script, and I apologize in advance because I'm not going to do it. But I promise I'll be brief, so I'll be shorter than the script they wrote for me. Because I sat here watching this group. You're truly a remarkable group of graduates. To the parents and loved ones, you have outstanding family members here and friends and loved ones who are graduating today. This is truly a remarkable group. You're the first group of freshmen I got to greet, so it's amazing to watch how you've grown, and you're leaving here, and I think going to become outstanding engineers and outstanding businessmen and women, outstanding contributors to our society. And I look for great things, and I'm just wondering as I look here which one of you I'm going to see here in a couple of years receiving one of these Medal of Excellence. Hopefully many of you. You're a special class. In a lot of ways, you're like the first class that enrolled almost 20 years ago. You're the biggest class. We sit here today with over 50 master's degree recipients, 297 bachelor's degrees. That's amazing. 4 years ago, we only had 120. It's just a great class. You were patient. Somehow, with 300 freshmen coming in that year, we ended up with 1,000 students. This year we had about 1,500, and for a semester, 1,500 students, 60 faculty, all sitting back here today. We somehow found a way to fit in a building that was designed for 700 students and 30 faculty. So it's amazing we got here. I'm glad that we got the building built for you so that you got to spend one semester in the new building. It's a semester, come on. I know I promised a year, but it's a semester. It's halfway to the promise. But it's been a pleasure watching you in the hallways, watching you in the classrooms, watching you in the collaboration rooms. And I just have one parting message to you. I hope you can look at our two honorees today, Dr. Kushner and Mr. Nyland, and look at their career paths. And I thought something that stuck out of me in Dr. Kushner's remarks about not accepting the status quo, because if you look back to some of the famous quotes by Mr. Henry Rowan, the namesake of our college, and the reason that all of us are here today, one of my favorite quotes is why did he get where he is because he didn't accept the status quo. And he always encouraged our college, our faculty, our students to never accept the status quo. And if you heard Dr. Kushner's remarks, that's exactly what led her to where she is today. It led her to innovation. If you had a chance to hear from Mr. Nyland, you'd hear the same thing, the same story. A leader in their fields that refused to accept the status quo, refused to stop questioning, refused to stop seeking excellence. And that's what I'm asking for each and every one of you today. So I am proud to have watched you for 4 years pursue your paths, and we're very, very excited now to watch you process across the stage and receive your diplomas.
Hello. My name is Dr. Stephen Chin, and I'm the Vice Dean of the Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering. It is my pleasure to recognize the winners of the Medallion Awards. These are students who have distinguished themselves through their excellent academic performance, character, and service to their college and department. Students, when your name is called, please stand to be recognized. The recipient of the Irene Elizabeth Tracy Excellence in Engineering Award, Alexis Basantis. The recipient of the Clarence Slater Award for Excellence in Chemical Engineering, Kevin Schmalbach. The recipient of the Ralph A. Dussault Award for Civil and Environmental Engineering, Danielle Habibi. The recipient of the C. Ernest O'Neill Medallion for Electrical and Computer Engineering, Christopher Fredrickson. And the recipients of the Tirupati Chandrupatla Mechanical Engineering Award for Excellence, Roland Bonner and Edward Michalchuk. Thank you.
Okay, so it's now time to present the graduates and the diplomas. So each of our graduates will be called individually by program, beginning with our recipients of the master's degree, proceeding with the students earning their bachelor's degrees. For the presentation today, Mr. Jacob Culleny will announce the names. Before Mr. Culleny begins, I would like to ask that all family members remain in their seats so that you do not obstruct the views of others. A professional photographer will be taking 3 photos of our students, one before they cross the stage, one as they receive their diploma, and one as they exit the stage. The students have been given the contact information to have the proofs mailed to home. You're welcome to take photos in front of the platform stage at the conclusion of the ceremonies. And now, it's time for the reading of the diplomas. Reading of the names.
We will start with the graduates of the master's programs. Master in Engineering Management, Dr. Ralph Dussault, Graduate Coordinator. Lou Brannon. Joseph Radno. Joe Ferrari. Joseph Altersitz. Sharnar Curran. Ashley Neerevs. Shannon Adonis Jones. Master of Science in Civil Engineering, Dr. Yusuf Mehta, Graduate Coordinator. Sean McMahon. George Nubo. Katie Miller. Master of Science in Electrical and Computer Engineering, Dr. Nadal Boyanaya, Graduate Coordinator. Vanessa Fernandez. Nita Parvin. Matthew Macaron. Brian Finch. Tejas Kumar Sharma. Okay. Ryan Patterson. Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, Dr. Jennifer Kadlewick, Graduate Coordinator. Mohammed Natia. Nikhil Bizawada. And now, graduates from our bachelor's degree programs. Chemical Engineering, Dr. Mariana Savesky, Department Head. Please step forward to present your department.
To the very hardworking, dedicated, and energetic class of 2017, what else can we say? Well, it's been a pleasure and honor to have you in our program. You're going to be missed. But above all, we have to recognize you because you are an award-winning group who brought regional and international recognition for excellence in chemical engineering to Rowan University. And for that, the faculty of the department, myself, we are very grateful, and we honor you this morning. So, faculty of the Chemical Engineering Department, please follow me down the stairs to honor our graduates.
Stephen Jerzak. Matthew Hornish. Philip Bailey. Kyle Firestone. Rachel Jones. John Schneider. Nicholas McBride. Harrison Hawkins. Rachel Adams. Mariah Soring. William Patrick Fink. Anthony Horvath. Christopher Carey. Nicholas Kwan. Brittany Butler. Amy Geary. John Morton. Luke Howard. Jord Iniguez. Try my best on that one. Lucas Boyd. Elron Robinson. Timothy St. Ange. Kevin Klingensmith. Christopher Zaleski. Ryan McHugh. Jacob Bremekamp. Edward Freisinger. Zachary Helm. Paul Tazy. Luke Hudson. Vincent Levicki. Francis Petruzoli. Frederick Bishop. Justin Hansel. Laura Madden. Nicole Rush. Casey Carlin. Rhiannon Brunel. Kevin Hagan. Kyle Grutenbohr. Charles Boone. Tyler Christie. Quinn Pearlstein. Christina Laud. Freha Tahir. Christopher Adonisio. Theodore Price. Daniel Heckman. Tiffany Mina O'Connor. Kevin Michael Schmalbach. Jason Cosgrove. Ryan Biggs. Civil Engineering, Dr. Bina Sukerman, Department Head. Please step forward to present your department.
So I'm Dr. Bina Sukumaran, Department Head of Civil and Environmental Engineering. And I do have a few words for our graduates. Wanted to say you have inspired us as much as we hope we have inspired you. You've been an outstanding group of students who have left a positive mark on the department through your tireless service, hard work, intelligence, and positive attitude. I hope you'll take the time to thank our staff and faculty who have taught you well, mentored and advised you, listened to you, and supported you throughout your stay with us. This is my hope and dream for you, that you'll go out in the world and be advocates for people who are less fortunate than you, serve as allies for underrepresented and underserved groups in the engineering space, be responsible stewards of the environment, and practice engineering by holding yourself to the highest ethical standards. So with that, will the Faculty of Civil and Environmental Engineering please join me in honoring these graduates?
Dean Coleman. Danielle Habibi. Robert Bruns. Nicholas Spanos. Nicholas Minner. Margaret Mayer. Caitlin Irene Barone. Alexander Svez. Ryan Lee. Jesselyn Wright. Megan Mittenswy. Dennis Boylo. Rebecca Adamo. Deanna Dariano. William Butler. Alyssa Scapicchio. Robert Newman Reese. Katie Hollywood. Stephen Busby. Zach Slagus. Jake Schwartz. Dylan Livingston. Gary Lidka Bazuga. Shane Regan. Kimberly Gable. Godfrey Joyner. Nicholas Marandino. Austin Gaub. Eric Pluckhorn. Matthew Paw. Brian Reyes. Levi Bell. Daniel Murray. John Gallo. Andrew Yoder. Ryan McCarthy. Jeffrey Dibb. Kyle Ebersol. Matthew Edward Stacker. Shane Wagner. Christopher Brozowski. Thomas Peronich. Nick Scardilli. Billy Moed. Evan Larison. Austin Papp. Glenn Cardelis. Ryan Gallagher. Sean Mating. Electrical and Computer Engineering, Dr. Roby Polakar, Department Head. Please step forward to present your department.
It is my great privilege and pleasure to invite the supremely smart, extremely hardworking, exceptionally good-looking, infectiously geeky, and electrifyingly competent recipients of the degree Bachelor of Science in Electrical and Computer Engineering, please come to the platform and be recognized. Our dedicated EC faculty, please join me below the platform to congratulate and honor our graduates.
Nicholas Felker. Christopher Fredrickson. Richard Spresny. Walter Marican. Stephanie Tan. Irina Topchi. Okay. One more time. Ola Sukami. Fado Tatimi. It's easier than it looks. Brian Colton. Joseph Tricarico. Craig Zott. Rick Reynold Vergara, Jr. Stephen Louis Sanchez. John Christian Melgard. Andrew DiMartino. Kevin Tompkins. Traz Dukowski. Jeff Schertz. Daniel Cahill. Lindsay Kroger. Elijah Neville. Nicholas Rodriguez. Kevin Murphy. Saad Sohail. Kyle Siebens. Kristen Napolitano. Michael Hawley. Jason Myers. Kane Heening. Scott Decker. Thank you. Megan DiPietrantonio. I butchered it. I had it. Julie Park. Mitchell Rudy. Matthew Brooks. Tyler Waddington. Anthony Fasolo. Andrew Getler. Adam Shashelski. Ryan Alpaw. Jesse Wilburn. William Kerbel. Austin Hayward. Michael Borzone. Scott Charles Adams. Mechanical Engineering, Dr. Jennifer Kadlowick, Department Head. Please step forward to present your department.
Got to get my notes out. All right. Will the hardworking, intelligent, researching and designing candidates receiving the Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering please come to the podium to be recognized? I can say for all of the faculty and staff in the Department of Engineering, you are a wonderful class who will be missed, and we know that you'll go out and do great things. Will the dedicated, student-centered faculty of Mechanical Engineering please join me in honoring these graduates?
Michael Longo. Timothy Daniel Bridle. Jordan Franklin. Michael Dominguez. Vincent White. Austin Carrig. Justin Lava. Joshua McKinley. Lucas Fuentes. Ian Lynch. James Schroth. Daniel Campbell. Carmine Adamas. Matthew Nelly. Jonathan Gottfried. Joshua Applegarth. That's easy. Douglas Petro. Zachary Tyler Davis. Brandon Nealon. Kelly Greiser. David Ozales. Zachary Colazar. Garrett Petrozelli. Jason Dittman. Taysa Mickle. Jillian Sharkey. Kelly Stonehouse. Edward Michael Chuck Jr. Nicholas Pedlow. Jeremy Zuccarello. Justin Rueg. Ariel Barber. Michael McKendry. Logan Greer. Joseph Mandera. Aaron Soren. Cameron Labrie. Matthew Decker. Bradley Zambruski. William Urban Jr. Robert Samuel. James Henry. Nikolai Berzin. Casey Bate. Alexandra Gobler. Lauren Markey. Michael Simunek. Edward Kurtz. Theodore Toker. Kevin White. Scott Ackerman. Roland Bonner. Theodore Mercurio. Andrew Riley. Christopher Boyle. Adam Wisniewski. Jack Leslie Peterson. Jack Williams. Billy Pappas. Alexis Basantis. Emily Umbuck. Emily Illick. And lastly, Bo Nyland.
So congratulations now for our class of 2017. Job well done. So to represent your class, I'd like to invite our mechanical engineering graduate, Miss Alexis Basantis.
All right, wow, that was fun, right? So, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you guys. When I was first asked to give this commencement speech, I had an immediate moment of just sheer panic. I had no idea why I was selected to speak on behalf of all of you incredible individuals sitting in front of me today. All of you have different paths and journeys that led you to where you're sitting. So who am I to be speaking for you and representing you? But one day, when I was copying a huge stack of papers for Dr. Slater, I had a revelation. Even though all of the stories which led us here today may be different, there are parts of them that are fundamentally the same. So, according to my middle school English teacher, a good story is consisting of three main components: setting, characters, and plot. When I was looking at all of these papers, I started thinking about how our journeys to become engineers essentially came down to these three main components. So bear with me, because I grew up reading any sort of book I could get my hands on, so I have a deep love for stories and everything that they encompass. So the first aspect of a story is the setting, or the sights and sounds where everything takes place. And didn't we have an amazing setting for our journeys here at Rowan University? Yeah. Not only were we able to experience the drafty and sometimes leaky Rowan Hall, but we had the incredible opportunity to also experience the gorgeous new engineering building and also experience the incredible comfort of egg-shaped chairs from the future. Dr. Schmozzle running around with his hair flying in the wind. Dr. Badia's interesting assortment of mechanical parts. And Dr. Svelsky's daily blasting of classical music from his office created the perfect backdrop for our stories here at Rowan. Next, we have characters, AKA all of the different characters that a story can have. Protagonists, antagonists, dynamic characters, round characters. I'm not gonna bore you with the details of them today. But these are what adds life to stories. They can act as sidekicks, guides, support systems, or even enemies. Typically, a story will focus on the protagonist or the hero of a story. Most likely, you are the heroes of your own story, the person fighting all of the battles and experiencing all of the twists and turns of the plot. However, although a story typically focuses on these protagonists, it's really the supporting characters that are the heroes of the stories, and really the heroes of the stories of why we're sitting here today. These are the people that studied with you until all hours of the night when public safety literally had to kick you out of the building, who bought you Chick-fil-A nuggets after not eating for 10 hours and were hangry, and the people that acted as your surrogate family members on the days when you needed it the most. The hardships and struggles that you've experienced during this time will be soon and easily forgotten, but these supporting characters will definitely not be. Finally, we have the plot, or all of the events that take place. Typically, this plot consists of two main components: conflict and resolution. Unfortunately, there has to be something that causes our hero to struggle and experience difficulty. No one would want to read Harry Potter if all they did was run around, casting spells and having fun all day. This is what adds life to stories as well and makes your own personal story unique. It could be a test you're still angry about, a dream job you just didn't get, or the project you spent hours and hours putting all of your effort into that never quite worked out. Mecky's know what I'm talking about on that one. But like I said, these struggles are a part of life. They make your story interesting and unique, and the triumphs that inevitably follow that much sweeter. And great moments stem from these great opportunities. Because even though you may bomb that exam, you can learn a valuable lesson in resilience. You may not get that job, but maybe it just means there's something even better out there for you, something you never even experienced or expected. You know that project that didn't work out? Maybe it helped you make lifelong friends in the process. As I mentioned before, we all have different stories that led us to where we are today, different characters, conflicts, and resolutions. However, today we are at the same point in our storybooks, the ending of one chapter and the beginning of a next. So, learn from what you've experienced so far. Turn that page and start writing your next chapter, because I'm sure it's going to be a great read. Thank you all so much, and congratulations, class of 2017, because we did it!
And I also like to invite Daniel Cardona to give remarks. Daniel's a Student Government Association president.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, my name is Daniel Cardona, and I had the privilege of serving as the Student Government Association president this past year. I'd like to take a second to thank Dr. Hushman, the Board of Trustees, and the faculty, administration, and staff for giving us great opportunities and education that will change our lives and for helping us blossom into the semi-adults we are today. Classmates, if you're like me, you've been dreaming about this day for a while. I'm not talking about all the pomp and circumstance, nor the inspirational speeches. I'm talking about sprinting across the stage, snatching that diploma, and leaving all assignments, books, and papers behind you. Don't get me wrong, classes were great. Some were great. Classes were okay. Before all this becomes official, it's my job to take you for a short stroll down memory lane. It's all gone by so quickly, it's worth the pause. Remember how nervous you were checking into your residence hall for the first time? Or driving to campus that very first day of school? How about locating those oddly named buildings like Bozorth or Winians, Savitz, Savitz, I still don't know how to say it. How about driving in circles to find a parking spot? Oh, that was last week. How about taking music appreciation and thinking, what could possibly be an easier elective, and then getting absolutely crushed? How about easy mac and cheese? Nothing better. Ramen noodles, and my personal favorite, the Domino's 2 for $5.99 deal. How about that wacky sweet mate, John? Or the kid that asks questions in class, every single class. That's enough, I'm going downhill. How about some good memories, like those iconic professors that changed your life? Perhaps Christian Batia? Mary Staley? And Bina Sukumaran. Or the professional staff who are with us every day, like Gardy Gito, Temple Jordan, Melissa Ulmer, Andrew Perrone, the list goes on. To them, we've been taught by the best and earn an education that will open many doors during our lifetime and take us very far. It's taken hard work and perseverance, but most of all, it's taken great courage. Be proud of your accomplishments and the education you have earned. Most of all, be true to your school. Thank you, Rowan. Before we turn the tassel on our caps, as we sit here in front of a building facing the wrong way, let me leave you with a quote that guided me well through the years and will certainly help all of us as we move on to new jobs and new adventures. It's from the great American philosopher, Benjamin Mee. Yes, the Benjamin Mee from the movie We Bought a Zoo. You know, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage, just literally 20 seconds of embarrassing bravery, and I promise you, something great will come of it. Congratulations, class of 2017. Will all bachelor degree graduates please rise for the tossing of the tassel from right to left? I'll repeat it one more time, right to left. Please join me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All bachelor degrees graduates may be seated.
Okay, we're at the end, and I have a couple of things to say right before you go. Number one is Lexi mentioned forgetting all of the tests and the hard work in the classes, and I wanted to just give you one piece of advice as you go out of here, because I don't want to say how many years I am past my graduation, but I'm a chemical engineer, and I still from time to time have a recurring nightmare where I wake up in the middle of the night and I think that I'm late for my fluid dynamics final. So when you have that dream, wake yourself up and remind yourself that it's not real anymore, because those days are done. It's over. You never are going to do that again. And the second part that I forgot to announce before you walked up, as you walked off the stage, you received your class coin. And if you notice on the back, this is your design, so if you didn't choose it, you can talk to some of your student leaders who did. But on the back is the optics, our wonderful piece of art that's out on the new green. So you can think of your class, the class of 2017, you are forever associated now with the giant head. So with that, we're going to close. I want to thank everybody for attending our ceremonies. I want to congratulate our award recipients as well as all of our graduates today. So I ask the audience to please remain in place until our platform party has recessed. The shuttles to the parking lots are available for those who need them to get to park, and they're available in parking lot R,